record to this computer. Now I think it's recording. Yep, okay, it's recording. So we can officially talk about chapters 4 and 5. Chapters 4 and 5, what did you like? What did you not like?
Wait.
I think I read 6 too. Well, did we have to do 6 or
Oh,
was
I'm
it just
sorry.
4 and
No,
5?
it's not 4 and 5. It's 5 and 6. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. No,
It's
it's
been
okay.
a long day.
It'd
I'm
be like
sorry.
that.
But chapter 5 basically went over, it covered Newton's third law of motion, as well as the last part of it was just a summary of all 3 of the laws. They talked about cannonballs and how like air resistance has major effects with like within cannonballs versus the cannon. It talked about how the same force is exerted on a small mass produces a large acceleration, but when a force is exerted on a large mass, it produces a small acceleration. I don't think that has to do with when cannons like fire and recoil. I think that's chapter 6, but that might be like along the same lines of it because I feel like that makes sense, but I don't know.
I'm sorry, y'all. 1 second.
Good.
I'm sorry. I got thrown off. My son is texting me about some tennis shoes.
That's okay. He needs his shoes.
Yes. And tennis shoes, they're not like, well, I don't know if y'all have kids or not, but he's 9 years old and he's already in the 8.5 in men.
Oh, so his shoes are a little bit more pricey now.
Girl, every pair of shoe he see, Mom, look, I'm like, it would be cool if they were $50 and $60, but they're 150, 170. Like, come on now. That is crazy. His feet bigger than mine. I'm still buying shoes out the kids section.
Me too. It's like such a great difference too, because like I remember I bought these Jordan ones, and like for like kid size was like 140, adults was like a smooth 190. I'm like,
Yeah,
dang.
it's crazy.
Wait, kids were or adults were 190 or kids were?
Adults were 190.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
Listen,
well,
and that's kind of like almost on the reasonable end because now they're 225 and it's like a pair of Air Force Ones is $120. That is crazy.
didn't they used to be like 80?
They did. I'm sorry, 1 second.
Yuki, I need to do my school stuff. Go sit over there.
I'm sorry, y'all. My fiance in the background talking all loud.
You guys are good, no worries. Right now I'm just getting written in to some of like the main Newton's 3 laws. Because I feel like that's just good word stuff to fill up. Us also like the main takeaway from chapter 5. Well, it's not the main takeaway. The main takeaway of chapter 5 is introducing the last law, the third law, the law of action and reaction.
Yeah.
Did you guys like the apple and orange examples?
Yeah, I thought that made a lot of sense.
Same, because like at first when I was just looking at the apple and the orange, I was so confused. Like how it's the apple, or not, excuse me, not the apple, the orange and like the enclosed system, but then it was still moving. I was like, okay, where's the force that's like dragging like the orange? Like how is it moving?
Yeah, that's how I was too, because I was used to the figure 5.5 and 5.6. You know, where it kind of like it makes sense, it's more self-explanatory. But I was thinking the same thing too, like what are they trying to get at here?
It brought up freaking not vectors, what is it? The parallelogram. I just do not get it. Like I feel so dumb with the parallelogram and the vectors of that. Like I know that if it's shaped like this, then the is it velocity or acceleration? whatever arrow, the resultant is going to be directly in the middle, and it's going to be the sides of it will be, I think, the square root. Yes.
Yeah.
Square root of 2 for the length. And then but like I've got this example pulled up, which is Nellie Newton pulls on a sled, and which component of her force is greater. And it's the force that's on the bottom. It'd be the one with my red watch band. This force would be greater, and I just don't understand why. Like maybe because she's pulling it, or maybe it's because she's like the main part of like her force, like it's by her feet. I don't know. I don't know. I don't understand the resultant and the parallelogram vectors, and it makes me feel really silly.
Are you looking at
Maybe.
the slide lectures that he posted?
Yes. Now
Oh.
see, I feel like I've been doing it kind of wrong because I realized that he had video lectures like 2 days ago, after, because I read the chapters and then I go back through the notes and I take the notes and I answer like the question your knowledge, or check your reasoning, check your understanding. Like I'll answer those questions too. But I didn't watch the videos because I didn't know he had videos, and now that I've seen them, I'm like, oh, he probably explains like more in detail about it. I just haven't watched them. So maybe if any of you have, and you guys understand it, you could talk about it, maybe help me figure it out, because I just do not like it. In theory,
Yeah.
it makes sense, like with the direction of how it works, but like the logistics and the math behind it, that's what I'm like not understanding.
Yeah. That I get what you're saying. I wasn't able to watch the videos because my internet was not cooperating. But you know what I always wonder? I wonder like if the fact that her feet is pressing up against something versus like at the top, there's not nothing that is pressing against. Does that make sense? Or you understand what I'm trying to say?
Kind of. Okay, so you're saying that her speed. Okay, so looking at the figure with the dog sled and Nellie, and up at the top, this so my bottom hand, my red whatever hand is going to be the f of x, and then this one's going to be f of y, and then the force is the arrow pointing in the middle. Is that the diagram you're looking at?
Yep, with the dog, right?
Yep.
And the book is 5.21.
I believe so. I just don't have my book
Okay.
by me.
Yep. That's the only one I saw that had her pulling something.
So
Besides
you said this, the force of her feet?
Well,
Of
I
her
just was
feet?
wondering, like, is that what is the determining factor of how far up or out it goes? Like, say if she had something less solid that she was walking up on, would that matter, you know, how high or how wide or whatever the object would go?
I love that. I love that question.
Yeah. I'm sorry if I'm not explaining it right.
No. I think you are. I think I'm tracking with you. So like, in the sense of if she was walking and pulling her dog on a sled with like ice, how it would be, like it would be different.
Yeah, versus if it was like soft soil, you know, or like sinking sand or something.
I was thinking the same thing as you were saying that, like if the material on the floor was different, if that would have like any impact, because like trying to walk through like, let's say like green grass versus like sludge snow is like different. So I think that might have some impact a little bit.
It's probably a lot of things that have impact too, because like we probably could imagine like the wind, you know, if the wind is higher or faster, you know, it's probably going to go farther than if it's just still.
Yeah. I like that question. What else did y'all read about and find interesting in chapters 5 and 6? We talked a lot about chapter 5. if we want to move kind of into chapter 6. Chapter 6 is all about momentum and impulses and stuff. And impulses are a product of force and time. And momentum is mass and velocity.
Wasn't impulse a word in like the last chapter too, I think?
I think
believe-
so.
I believe like they brought up this word before, but like the definition that they used was like I think much more like simpler. It didn't really make sense. I think like it said like the initial starting point, but
Mhm.
then in this chapter is talking more about like it being the product of something. So I don't know, like I was like reading it in the book, but I didn't quite like get what it's saying. Like I don't know. I don't know if you guys understand it a little bit more, but I didn't get it too much.
Do you remember, I don't know if you're doing it, totally fine if you don't. But do you remember when the chapter or what chapter it was that you said chapter 4 maybe, that introduced the word impulse?
I think so. I
I
started writing
forget.
like on loose leaves instead of in my notebook. I don't know. I think my notebook's somewhere downstairs. I don't know, but let me see if I can
You could look in the back of the
find
book.
it in my book. Let's see, because I feel like this word popped up in the last chapter too. Um,
The force of friction, friction.
maybe I'm tripping. Maybe I am tripping. Oh, I see. I got it confused with instantaneous speed. Why did I think those
Oh,
things?
Oh, okay.
My bad. I
no,
see
that's
that.
okay. We figured
Okay,
it
those
out.
are different things. Those are different. Okay, okay. Only other Yuki, stop. The only other thing like I was kind of confused about with chapter 6 was the different collisions. So with the elastic, is it like saying like if you were to throw like I think the example was two balls, I
Mm-hmm.
think balls or something, like they would hit each other and then just like go back without like any what do they use? They said deformation. And then with inelastic, it would like collide. So I think the example they used was with a car for the
Mm-hmm.
inelastic
The
one.
freight train.
Yeah, so it's just like saying like one of them is like with no, I guess, physical reaction or how would I say effect, I guess. And then the second one is just saying like um something did physically happen to it, or I don't know. Like I guess like
Okay.
I'm confused.
What page is that?
Let's see. Let me go back. It is page.
Cause I see collisions, but oh, it's right here. I'm
So
looking dead at it.
I think you're right on, because elastic means like you're gonna bounce off of each other. So like those two balls, like I can't remember, I don't know which figure y'all are looking at, but there is a figure in there where it's like if it's A, B, and C and it's different kind of balls.
Uh-huh.
That's the elastic collision from my understanding, because the balls like they hit each other but then they kind of like go away still, versus your inelastic collision when it like has such force comes in and it absolutely like changes the properties of it, while the elastic collision, they both had, at least for my understanding, is that they
Mhm.
both had it either was not going fast enough or not exerting enough force to full on destroy it or change the like the physical properties of the object B that object A hit.
Mhm.
While as in elastic collisions, object or for example the two freight trains, when we have a freight train that's really, really big and it's traveling with a lot of force into a freight train that's also really big but's at rest, like there's so much force coming in, it's got to go somewhere, and it's not, I don't know. Now that I'm talking, I don't know.
Well, I mean, basically, it just says in the inelastic collision, characterized by deformation or the generation of heat or both. In a perfectly inelastic collision, the two objects stick together. Consider, for example, the case of a freight car moving along a track and colliding with another freight car at rest. If the freight cars are of equal mass and are coupled by the collision, can we predict the velocity of the coupled cars after impact? Okay, now this is crazy because I'm gonna tell y'all, I got into a car accident one day, right?
One day?
And no, this was some years ago.
Oh, okay.
But
One
this
day.
is a
I
good
think that
example.
Monday.
This is a good example of this.
Okay.
So I had a stop sign. I had to come to a stop to make a right turn to my house. But after I made the turn, I blacked out. I don't remember what happened. But my car ended up flipped.
Oh no.
There was a car parked like on the left-hand side of the street. Now I hit the parked car, but the parked car never moved. I just knocked the transmission out of it, but it flipped my car. That's crazy, right?
Not knock the transmission out.
Yes, but the car never moved. Like it didn't move up, it didn't move down, it didn't move at all.
Your car bounced. You bounced. Oh.
Yeah, the transmission just dropped at the car and it flipped my car.
Dang.
Impulses are generally greater when objects bounce. Oh, you had a great impulse.
Yeah, so that's crazy that's how that was. But yes, it was crazy, and I was just trying to figure that out. Like, how did that happen? But just like how they were talking about, if a freight car, if one car is at rest, but there's another car that's moving, you know, it might not necessarily be the same if they both were at rest or if they both were moving.
Were you okay though? You said your car flipped.
It did. Yeah, I was. I climbed out the window.
Oh.
Yeah, I had to kick the window out because the front of the car was crushed, of course, the windshield and stuff. But
oh my god,
yeah, it was crazy. I never really found out what happened. They suspended my license for 3 months until like I had to like take tests and stuff to see what happened. But I don't know. It was real strange. But yeah, that is so crazy. And the car looked perfectly fine. Like if you wouldn't have saw the transmission hanging out the bottom, you wouldn't have believed that I even ran into it.
Not the transmission.
Yeah, that is crazy. And I had, y'all know what else is crazy? I had a carton of eggs.
Did the eggs go flying?
No, the eggs never cracked.
Wow.
That's
so
impressive.
Like you grab them in the store sometimes and they crack as soon as you grab the box. It was like crazy.
Girl, they never cracked.
Ooh, that's a question.
Crazy.
An example of Jamisa's car accident. Why did the carton of eggs that she had in her car not break or crack when the car flipped? Is it
that's
the motion relative to the inside of the car had not stopped yet? I don't know.
Excuse me. Or does it have something to do, you think, with the other car being at rest? What if that car wasn't at rest?
Car being at rest.
I think if the car wasn't at rest, that car would have been tore up.
Yeah.
I think if we both were moving, it would have been terrible.
The car had not been moved.
Did the other car have like any like dents in it and stuff? So just the transmission fell out. Otherwise, it looked perfectly fine.
You wouldn't have never even guessed that nothing was happened to it. And that's why I'm thinking, like, so how did my car flip? I mean, my car must have hit it right at a certain point, I guess, or something. I don't know.
That's
because
crazy.
nothing else was there. You know, they checked the curb. I didn't run up in nobody's yard. It wasn't no trees. It wasn't no poles. Nothing.
I cannot believe you flipped your car. What kind of car was it?
It was Alero.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And I had just got it. I was
Oh,
supposed to get my license plates the next day. Yep, and
Dang.
that happened. But it was so crazy. Yeah, I had a concussion for a couple days after that, and it was crazy. My cell phone was in the car. I couldn't find the cell phone. And as soon as I like realized what was happening, because at first I didn't realize what happened. Because I was just up turning the corner, driving down the street. Like I was wide awake. I wasn't tired. I wasn't none of that. And when I woke up, I was upside down. I'm thinking like, how I get upside down? So I saw the car smoking and I was thinking like, I got to get out the car because I don't know if it's going to blow up. I don't know what. So then in my head, I'm thinking, I think this is when my concussion kicked in because I'm thinking like, I got to push the car over. So I was trying to push this car over and I'm like, girl, you can't push this car over. So I started crying. And as soon as I started crying, the police drove down the street. And I was like 2 blocks from my house.
Oh my gosh.
And I
Yes.
was thinking
Yeah.
like, what made y'all come down the street? He said, we just happened to be patrolling.
Of course they were.
They just
did they
happened to be
help you out
patrolling.
or were they jerk faces?
No, they were really nice. They called my
Good.
dad for me. Luckily my house was close. I was, like I said, 2 blocks away. So they were really nice about it and stuff. But it was just, that was something crazy, that the craziest thing that has ever happened to me before.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I had to tell y'all this other story once we get done doing this about how I met my biological family at the dentist one day.
Okay.
That sounds interesting.
It was freaky.
Maybe that's a chapter 7 and 8 talk. Maybe we can find a way to relate it back. But if not,
Right.
I'm curious.
I got all the stories.
I love it. Impulse changes in momentum. I think we got a decent amount. Y'all, what do you think?
I think so too. I really like how the book breaks it down, and I love the pictures. I think pictures always help,
I
kind of,
agree.
explain it better. And with the videos and then the checkpoints and stuff. Because I was really, when I took this class, I was nervous. I was thinking like physics online, like I'm going to be stressed out. That's what I was thinking.
Same.
I'm going to be tweaking.
I really like that.
And then I think it's cool too that he has us works in groups, to get different people perspectives, and then we can help build off each other.
Mhm.
Yeah, I
Pick
think
up
that's nice too.
where the other person leaves off. I think that's really cool.
Yeah. It's a nice way to socialize too, because in most like online classes, like you don't really talk to nobody. Like you might like comment under a discussion post or something
Mhm.
once or twice, but never
Yeah.
really like talk to people for real.
Yeah, I had a teacher. He was really cool. Instead of doing a discussion, you had to do a 3-minute video. So I always chose to do the videos. Nobody else chose to do the videos. I was kind of sad about that, but I loved it. It was, kind of switching up a little bit, not making
Yeah.
so, but it was really cool. But I love online classes.
Get up.
I like because then you get to you have time to do your other adult life things, and then you can still find the time to just come work on it.
Yes.
Which is definitely nice.
Yeah. And I think too, eventually I do want to go on campus, but campus is so overwhelming. And this is my first year at UNO, but I graduated with my associates from Metro.
Yeah.
And Metro is kind of big too, but UNO campus is like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So,
No, the one thing I don't like about campus is I can never find parking like that. Like on the second day of school, I got a ticket because I parked in the Law E or whatever by the arts and sciences area and